Hey everyone, and happy Friday. Welcome to the analysis today. It is the 1st of February, and so because it's Friday, we're going to be covering some of the weekly charts. You can see I have the Euro Dollar weekly up right now, and I'm watching it as it embarrassingly crushed right through my pending order and also through my stop loss. So, as I was mentioning earlier, having a pending order slightly above this 50 fib level, and go ahead and putting on the risk, to see if we do get a sharp reversal. Clearly, that did not happen. So that was a rough experience for me today. Thankfully, the odd yen that I'm in has cruised up nicely, so I haven't actually lost any equity. But nonetheless, a pretty rough trade to watch that thing just crush right through my pending order and my stop. Okay, anyway, we'll be covering some of the weekly charts, Euro dollar, USD CAD, pound dollar, odd dollar, US yen, and a few others as well. But before we get into those, I just want to cover our terms so that we cover our basis on that aspect of things. And basically, the terms just say that we're not licensed or qualified to provide investment advice, that anything that we share in the daily analysis is purely for educational purposes. It's solely our opinion of the market and not to be taken as investment advice. Alright, so if you need to pause and read through those, please go ahead and do so as I get back into these weekly charts. Okay, guys, so again, Euro obviously still raging, still extremely bullish. The 50 fib level I thought would be a pretty strong level to contend with, but you can see on the weekly chart, surely did not slow it down. Continued penetrating, actually even through the 50 level, went steeper than this outward channel that we had. So very strong move here. Of course, for me, the next level is the next fib, which is the 61.8. We'll see how price progresses towards it. It might be an area where I take another short, another pending order, and try to catch a short. The one thing that'll be different here on the euro dollar, based on what I did here, was that because there was so much momentum going into the 50, especially on the daily chart, it probably would have been wiser to pull my pending order and not take the short, which is something that I'll implement on the 61.8 level. If price is heading into it and still moving up, but kind of stalling out with slower moves, I will like that short potential much better. And if it's continuing with a lot of momentum and getting close to that level, it would be an area where I go ahead and pull the pending order off and just say, too much momentum, the euro has not slowed down, so I'm not looking to take it short. So that would be the major difference there in the way I attack this. But I still think there's a great opportunity on these fib levels for strong bounces. Even though I don't necessarily think that the trend will end at this level, I think it could very well come in, bounce, and then continue up sharply. I still think that a bounce, especially on a weekly chart, provides a lot of profit potential and some pips to be made there. So I'll definitely be thinking very seriously about taking a short on the next level as well. Okay, so that's my analysis for the euro dollar weekly. I'd appreciate any comments and thoughts as far as what you're thinking about on this euro and how high you think it can go, and when you think it might reverse, and all of that. It's great to get feedback. But as for me, I don't really see, other than from a technical aspect, looking at the fib levels, I don't see any reason why this thing would really turn. Euros in complete command of this U.S. dollar, even after good news for the dollar today, still just penetrating higher. So that is the euro dollar. Let's go ahead and move to the pound dollar. Alright guys, on the pound dollar weekly, the obvious thing to note here is the major wedge that's forming, and again, getting closer to kind of convexing at 160. It's pushing down lower right now, and obviously, if you've seen the charts today, you know that there's a major bearish bar kind of taking over. And so this looks like it's going to at least push down into this area, and then from there we'll of course see if it's going to bounce right back and continue the shape, or if we're getting the potential breakout of this wedge, which is long awaited for. So I don't really have an opinion on which of those is going to happen. I did get short earlier today on the pound dollar, and we'll be targeting in this area. If it comes into this area, I'll have to make a trade management decision as to whether I want to hope for the break or just take profit. That might be a position where it makes a lot of sense to take partial profit and then see if it breaks toward much lower prices for a huge running position. I'm not traditionally a fan of taking partial profit, but this is an example where it may make sense. So I'll keep you updated on that. Right now I'm short, got short a little bit earlier today, and I'm up pretty decent on the trade so far. But have really not completely decided how I want to manage the target and take profit aspect. So I just know that I'm going to lock it into break even at a relatively early point, and then set up some take profit guidelines as we continue. So that's the pound. Looking to see if it at least comes down to test the bottom of our range here, and then of course just kind of waiting to see what happens next after that. All right, next we're going to look at this mind-blowing U.S. yen chart and just the incredible move. This, is from the daily chart, but on the weekly it doesn't even do anything because it's just so straight up. You can't draw a trend line for this. But a pretty incredible move, obviously. It's kind of funny. I talked about this move down, and when this kind of broke up, thinking, okay, the U.S. yen might start a little bit of an upward trend here. I remember saying all the way back here in October, November, that we might be seeing some continuation, even at the start of a new trend on the U.S. yen. If only I had any idea what I was talking about, and that this would happen. I'd be extremely rich right now. But anyway, the trend continues. This weekly bar is as big as any, so obviously the momentum is still there. Again, this 94.50 area is kind of our next major level, which we're still a good ways away from. If I get my calculator or ruler out here, you can see we're about 160 pips still away from that. So until it gets to that point, outside of if there's a nice pullback, I don't know if there's any trade setups for the U.S. yen, but it's at least worth watching and seeing what's going on. The U.S. dollar did have some good news today, which didn't really help it against the euro, but against the yen, it continued to drive price higher. And so now we're getting close to that 93 mark, and then once we get there, we'll be another 100 pips from 94. And eventually getting close to our next major resistance level. So U.S. yen, not much analysis once again there, but looking for pullbacks and continuing to see if there's any opportunity to jump on as this trend continues to go straight up. And euro pound, similar story as it just breaks through these levels without even thinking twice. We're now at the 86.90 area, very close to 87, and price still showing a lot of momentum here. You can see once again these weekly bars are not getting any smaller. In fact, this is our biggest one yet from this week. So this is a pretty decent level here at the bottom of this level, which corresponded here, obviously here, and then some previous levels as well. And price did virtually nothing at that point to stall it. I mean, one daily bar might have stalled out, but then it continued right through. So still on the pace straight up. Very similar to the U.S. yen, where you maybe pick a spot where you might see some reversal signs, but very dangerous to even think about shorting the euro pound as it's rallying higher and higher without any intention, it appears, of looking back or stalling out. So same thing as the U.S. yen again. Just if we get a strong pullback into an area like 86 and it moves back up, then we'll look for longs. But until then, it's very difficult to try to trade. It's too high to take long. It's too dangerous to take short. So you're just in an area of waiting for price to pull back or give you an opportunity at a support level, and then look to try to jump on and hope it's not too late. So euro pound straight up. That's all there is to say. USD CAD, similar situation here with kind of a wedge forming where price is bouncing. It's not extremely consistent, as you can see. Some of these pullbacks are only coming halfway, some slightly further. Here was a great pullback, but then now on the reverse, obviously did not get all the way up, and a nice weekly bar back down. So less consistent than the pound as we see on the wedges. It's for the most part coming all the way back and forth to these general levels that's forming the wedge. But regardless, a nice bar, kind of the inside type bearish bar that looks like it's going to lead, to at least the bottom here, if not coming back for a retest on our wedge area close to 97.50. So to me, USD CAD is set up for a bearish week following. We'll see if that holds true or if things change. But right now, looks like it wants to head down and get to some lower prices. Okay, odd is another one that's another wedge actually, but here we're seeing the extreme lack of momentum from this point here to where we are now in this little upward shape here. You can see there's really hardly any consistency whatsoever in the weekly moves. So it's a point where hopefully it won't continue doing this and just hanging on this trend line. Hopefully we'll get a nice break and we'll finally get some of the momentum back that the odd used to have. You can see, on the swings from here and here and here and here and here and here, that we had lots of momentum. The price moved rapidly and with some serious commitment toward going to one direction or the other. But lately, we haven't seen any of that. So we have this bottom here, and then also the kind of this little channelish pattern here that needs to break through right at 102. If we do get a break, there's some potential for some bearish continuation. But as of right now, the odd to me is still untradeable, and I've been saying that for 6 weeks or something, and it's upsetting. But to me, there's nothing to take advantage of if price refuses to move. Okay, guys, then I want to finish up by talking about the pound New Zealand. I was talking about hoping that some areas break on other pairs. The pound New Zealand did break through its wedge, a nice strong continuation. You can see about 5 weeks of continuation on the bearish side here. Now we're right at the lowest point ever for pound New Zealand, as a matter of fact. And so getting close to a break here. This is a trade that I'm particularly excited about because as it breaks, I'm thinking that we're kind of in empty space. That's a term that actually Chris was talking about earlier. And, empty space is kind of a scary thing because you don't know what it's going to do. But it's exciting because that means there's no resistance or support in your way depending on which way you're going. And it really could go forever. And if you look at the history of the pound New Zealand, the moves to the downside after breaking lows have been pretty incredible. Let me just scroll back here. You can see just how this thing has gone down over time toward lower lows, and so one of these legs that is several thousand pips is pretty exciting and difficult to take advantage of for the most part. But here's an area where it could break to a record low, get below, head towards 1.8 and get it below that. And then you're talking about really incredible moves, 1.8 to 1.7, 1,000 pips. Who knows how low it could go? But obviously, for me, anything that has 1,000 pip potential is something I'm very interested in trying to take advantage of. So this is one that I'm very closely tracking, excited about the possibility of the pound New Zealand, and looking forward to the potential of catching this thing as it goes into empty record-breaking space and maybe getting the next 1,000 pip leg on the pound New Zealand. Okay, so that's the weekly analysis, guys. I really appreciate those of you here watching it. I hope it's helpful, and I hope it's preparing you for a great week of trading ahead. And if you guys don't mind, please do tweet it and share it on Facebook. I really appreciate when you do that, and it helps get it out to other people, and we're working hard to reach as many people as possible. So if you don't mind, take a minute, tweet it, share it on Facebook, use LinkedIn if you have that. It really means a lot to us, and greatly appreciate it. All right, talk to you soon. Have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll be back here Monday with some great opportunities.